Okay, hello everyone. So, this is pretty much a video that will be explaining a new binary module that has recently come out on the workshop. Similar to vPhysics Jolt, it is a module that modifies the internal source code of the game and allows for some very interesting things to happen. Similar to vPhysics Jolt, this module pretty much I would say it's pretty much like a game changer in terms of what it does. So what you see in front of me are a couple of props. They don't look too interesting. They look pretty much normal, very similar probably to the debug white here, so maybe a little bit different. But what these are actually is a custom material shader, completely custom. Um, and that might not mean too much to some of you, but what this is like completely custom, generated through Lua on the fly, like fully compiled on the fly shader. So this is the shader code right here, and I can actually do some pretty crazy stuff with this. So this is a pixel shader, which means I can modify data about each pixel that's on the screen. So like at some point the GPU has to iterate through every pixel on your screen, and this is code which can modify said pixel. So I've created a little kind of refraction shader kind of example here, just to highlight how cool this is. So all this does is it kind of compares normals and adds or subtracts pixels depending on which. It's not accurate whatsoever, but it's cool to see kind of the effect that it gives off. This is different than the refract shader on source models, or it's similar to the refract shader in which that it kind of modifies pixels on the screen. The difference is that mine kind of colors pretty weirdly. It like colors per position of the vertex, but that's pretty cool. Another cool example that you can do with this is you can show the normals of a model. So this might not mean too much, but of course you can see kind of the normals, of course, of a model. So you can see it changes color when I like rotate it. So that's pretty cool. Look around at that, pretty neat. Um, Ball, so kind of stays the same. Pretty weird, right? Um, they're just kind of a tube thing. So this displays of course, the normals of the object. I have another pretty cool shader which kind of takes the screen and like pixelizes it. So this is another pretty cool one. I think this is the cube right here. And if we look through the cube, you can see it kind of pixelizes everything, right? I can actually change the intensity of the pixelization by doing this a little bit. Um, there you go. And now it's way more pixelated. So that's pretty cool. It's a neat little shader. Let me get rid of that. So this one is a messed up screen space reflection that I tried doing. I definitely have to improve the code, obviously, because this is not right. But it was an attempt at screen space reflection. Clearly is a little bit broken. But it is possible to do screen space reflection now with these kinds of shaders. This next one's pretty neat. So this one kind of waves the screen a little bit. So if you like look through it, it kind of makes everything wavy. And it also has a stripe pattern which like goes up the screen. It's kind of hard to see, but you can't. It does exist. So it's kind of exists on all models. That one's pretty cool. And this last one, which I think pretty much is my favorite, we have this rainbow one, which looks really trippy. This is a rainbow shader that I made, which kind of just takes the world positions of the model and turns them into HSV colors, and then like turns it into a rainbow. So it's pretty neat. Can make like a pretty cool little room with this, kind of like this little little thing here. I don't know, something like this, and it blends smoothly because it's a shader, so that's pretty neat. You could not do this with normal materials. It's not possible. So you can see Mossman is looking pretty weird. Another cool thing is we actually have access to, so I'm going to go back to the normal shader real quick. just because it's got some pretty good looking lighting. And another thing we can do is also modify the vertex shader. So which means we can change the vertexes of which we please. So this one takes all of the vertexes in the model and rounds them down onto a grid. So that it looks pretty cool, in my opinion. You can do this on any model, by the way. So like Symphony's car, ignore the error. You can kind of pixelize it and make it look really weird. And this is done by the GPU, not the CPU, so it's extremely efficient, extremely fast. This is the weird cube from earlier. This is the it kind of makes everything all pixelated and weird. And then you could also like combine this with the pixel shader down here, the pixelizer. And there you go. So now you've got like rounded, censored pixel stuff, which looks pretty weird. Um, that's pretty neat. So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities with these shaders that you can do. It does come with a post-processing shader, so if you want, you could write a post-processing shader. What this means is, so you can pretty much do anything you want with, like, you got a lot less limitations when it comes to the rendering engine in GMod. You could render, like, for instance, a bunch of particles on the screen at once really efficiently with using screen space splatting. You could make the whole world all jiggly if you wanted. You could make everything only red, kind of like these post-processing shaders right here. So like this one kind of makes everything brighter. This one right here. So you could do something like this if you wanted, customized. You could. There's just a ton of possibilities of what you could do with these shaders, custom shaders. So I highly recommend checking out the GitHub link in the description. And that is pretty much all.